I was not on the floor that year. I was not covering on the, I was not a floor reporter. And that was 1976, and it was the New York Democratic Convention. And I was bored out of my mind. Bored out of my mind. There was nothing to cover on the perimeter, which is what I was assigned. That meant I was there to cover demonstrations. Well, there weren't any. So a producer that I knew and worked with, I had gotten to know, in the course of just hanging around the convention, having nothing to do, I had met a fellow who manufactured campaign buttons. You know, buttons that have sayings on them. And he said that indeed he was going to be printing the button that said Carter and, you know. And I said, do you know what the and is? And he said, well, I do. And I said, will you tell me the and? No. And so in talking more, I discovered that they were going to start, I discovered where his button manufacturing company is in Manhattan, and that they were going to roll on the buttons in order to have them ready for the next morning. When they announced it to hand out to everybody, they were going to print the buttons that night. So the producer and I went down. It was in the 20s. I mean the streets of the 20s, not the temperature. It was August. And, you know, we got into the building the way every kid in New York knows that you get into a building, which is you ring every buzzer and somebody will eventually answer. And we went to the top of this brownstone, and it was just absolutely opposite where the printing press was. And, you know, we had told our producer we were going to go do this. And he said, okay, but I don't know any of you. If you get arrested, don't be calling me for bail. That was a line I was to hear a number of times in my career. And if you get arrested, don't be calling me for bail. And we said, fine. So we get over there, and we're waiting, and we're going to break the story of who the vice president's going to be. And we're waiting, and we're bored, and the presses aren't running. And so we began to talk, and he started to tell me about, he had just come back from Afghanistan or some place where there had been folk dancing. And he said, let me show you. And he starts clogging about on the roof, and I get up and I start clogging about with him on the roof, and the next thing you know, the door to the roof pops open, and people from the apartments below come up, and one of them has a gun. He's pointing it at us. And, you know, we were just so stupid, we forgot that our dancing on the roof, that they could hear it. And, you know, I've never forgotten what the producer did. He threw his hands in the air, and he said, don't shoot, we're harmless, we're journalists. And the guy with the gun said, that may be, but get off our roof. And as we turned to go off the roof, I could see the presses start to roll across the street. Ka-boom, ka-boom. And I'm going, wait a minute, I just have to see what the name is on that button. And somebody picked me up and pushed me right onto the stairs, didn't push me down the stairs, and said, down the stairs you go. Missed my scoop. There, it was Mondale, by the way.